What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Absolute Auction Podcast. We have a live draft going on tonight. We have a 12-team PPR tight end premium, and we're also joined by two special guests. We have Seth Keller from FF Faceoff that works with me, and then a face you guys have already seen before in Kyle Senra from Fantasy Six Pack, Going for Two, and League Winners. What's going on, guys?
What's up?
I can't forget Mark all the way down there either.
Hey guys, happy to be here. As always, happy to have Kyle back on the show with us. Happy to have Seth here as well. Always fun to get into this Dynasty mock draft. I was actually looking like we were going to be hosting, but we needed a last minute fill in, so we're all drafting tonight, and we'll see how quickly this rolls off the rails tonight.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time, and I'm looking forward to doing it.
There we go. I actually wanted to kick it right off with the first question. So we all got different spots in the draft. Ryan, you're the earliest. I'm looking at the 9 slot, and then we've got Kyle and Seth on the 11-12 slot as far as order. So do we like where we're put? Does it matter to us? What are we first thinking when we get into these auctions? Let's start with. Go ahead, Kyle.
Well, I think for nomination order, I definitely don't mind being towards the end. Let's see how other people nominate first before I have to decide who the first player I'm going to nominate is. So when it comes to auctions, I do tend to prefer as late as possible. Let's see how other people act with their nominations first before I have to make that decision.
Yeah, I like that approach, especially when you don't always know the full group of people that you're working with. I have a long-standing auction that we do in my buddy's backyard every year, and it's one of the greatest times of the year because it's a live auction. We do it. We break about halfway through the draft and have burgers and beers and stuff like that. Well, the beers are usually throughout the whole time, but we break for a little barbecue. And that one I like being at the front of it too because then I just charge right in and just I'm setting the pace. So it really depends on how your kind of personality, your draft personality is, and also like who you're drafting with. In one like this, that like I know a handful of people that are in it, but most people I don't. So both Kyle and I are going to be sitting all the way back at the end of the draft board here, kind of looking to see what are people doing, and see if we're see if there's somebody to take advantage of other than myself.
Yeah, no, I like that because honestly, when we have, we talked about this, I think, on an earlier episode about bidding up players and when would be a good idea to bid up players. And yeah, when you don't really know your room, it's kind of hard to sort of enter that murky water that is bidding up somebody that you really don't know what they're going to do after as you hit a certain price point. So I really do like that approach in a new room. It's a new year for fantasy football. Everybody's a little different, so everybody's opinions aren't fully congealed yet. So I do like the strategy of moving a little farther back. Kind of happy that I am back there, but I do agree with you, Seth. When you have those auctions where everybody and your buddy's gonna take all the Eagles players and they're gonna those are the ones that you want the front of the draft. I really feel like those are the ones where you want to say, okay, I'm gonna put somebody I know in a tough situation early, or maybe I'm gonna take a guy that I know how I feel about their value that maybe other people might feel shaky about just based on circumstances, and you put them out there early and maybe you can get a deal. So I like both of those strategies. It's very much the more you know about your league, the earlier in the front you can go. The less you know, I think further back is probably not a bad option. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, so since you guys all took the back end, I wanted to be in the front just to see what I could do up front and see what the first two do. It doesn't really matter to me where I'm at. I can be at the very beginning, I can be in the middle, I can be in the end. When it comes to auctions, we're all bidding on the same players. It's not like I have the third overall pick. I just have the third nomination pick. So to do the nomination here doesn't bother me. I love it. Either way, because then I get to nominate earlier, and I'm all about nominating. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it off here. And we have Tuco 15 on the first pick.
I love it. And we've got 10 starting positions. It's a Superflex league. 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and 2 flexes. So for we went right out the gate. We've got Ashton Genty out there. For $12 our bid. I don't know how much higher I'm going to bid on a rookie. You know me. But what are we thinking? I think this might not be a bad option for a first nomination out the gate. A guy like Ashton Genty is going to be popular among people who are looking for rookies, that young crop of talent. But he also might be somebody that people aren't yet willing to put that much capital into if they don't feel like it's worth it. So what do we think for Genty?
Looking at him right now at $30, I'm out on him. I am not bidding on him. My goal was try to get him 27-ish. Yes, that's $3 more than I want to spend. But based on how I have my par sheet with me, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I didn't budget any running backs in any of my par sheets. I have 3 par sheets going right now to say that I want a running back at this cost. So I'm glad he went out, because if he didn't come out, he was going to be the first player I was going to nominate anyways. So it was great. And he just went for $31.
I mean, you got to respect it, though, because, you're expecting him to go early in the draft. There's already talks about him possibly going to the Jets and the Jets moving Breece Hall. Just saying, it's out there, a little smoking monkey. There's talk of him going super early in the draft. He's going to be a first-round rookie draft pick. If he's not going to be the 1-1, he's probably going to be the 1-2, and that's even in like Superflex. He's probably not going much further down than like 1-3. So your rookie running backs have a history of at least one of them coming out and putting up really good numbers. And so in a dynasty draft like this, dynasty auction draft like this, you're kind of maybe locking up a running back for the next few years with a good pick there.
Yeah, it's not a bad option. I like him. I like him as a running back. For me, when I'm doing a dynasty startup, my first player out the gate, usually I'm not trying to make them a running back. Like I'd rather have a little more understanding of what my core looks like. Whether I have a strong quarterback room, if I have a strong enough top end of my wide receiver core. Those are more important to me. So even for $31, I do like Genty, and I think he might be coming at a deal. But we still don't know a lot about rookies. It's really hard to know, especially like if he does go to the Jets. That is instant. That's instant. Like I'm out. Like juice for me. I can't do it with the Jets, especially if they're going to take away Breece Hall, trade him away just to do the same thing over again. I don't have a lot of confidence in the organization. We've talked about this before. I'm not going to go into it anymore. But yeah, no, I for me, it's hard to put that kind of dollar value on a running back as like my first player off the board.
Yeah.
And looking at this, like I'm surprised how high Josh Allen's going right now. It's almost like it's a redraft league. Like someone's like, this is the point where I start going to like have the redraft mindset of saying, all right, you know what? I think I can get this guy at this value. Let's see what I can do here. So
I don't hate it. I kind of like it.
Josh Allen for $48.
Yeah, why not? I mean, again, you're looking to have that edge in the league, and who else are you going to spend that much on other than a guy like Josh Allen? I like spending a lot of money on my upper core, and he's still dynasty quarterback 1 right now. So it's hard to see him fall off in the next 3, 4, 5 years. I'm fine with it.
I mean, clearly I am too. I made the pick. I made the bid, right? So perfect analysis there. Yeah, I thought I had done my auction sheet and had Josh Allen at almost $60 willing to spend on him in Superflex.
Wow.
So I want to go after the elite guys. Like I'm willing to overspend at that super top tier, whether it's Allen or Daniels or Lamar. So I felt 48's a bit of a
discount
bargain for me. Yeah.
Yeah, you saved yourself $12 already, so then that's already off to a good start for you. And then like you look at it too, like Mark and I were always in like an argument last season. I mean, we weren't in an argument, but a disagreement. Like he thought Josh Allen could be the number 1 QB.
Year-long argument.
And I was like, no, he's gonna suck because he has no wide receivers. And then, of course, he proved me wrong. So here we are now, and Josh Allen's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league, even with the wide receivers he doesn't really have.
And now let's see, is Josh Allen going to be a bargain because he's the first one off, and suddenly Lamar and it might go for more. So we'll find out here.
Yeah, he's already up to $44. 45. So yeah, I mean, if he goes over 48 or right now 48, I mean, Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson here right now, I mean, that's basically a nice 1-2 punch.
I will take that.
And it's right under that price at 46. So we're kind of setting a ceiling at these quarterback prices right now.
Yep. And I don't know if you could tell my face there. I was going back and forth on whether or not I wanted to click the button one more time. And that, honestly, that I feel like that's the worst feeling. Is like I would have bid another $1. I should have bid another $1. That's I don't want to go out too quickly with I'm one of those guys. I like kind of finding where that price point is, especially in Superflex leagues. I feel like I'm usually more comfortable with let other people go way over the top with quarterbacks, and I'll pick up all the other positional players. Not to give too much about what might end up playing out here, but I hate feeling like there's that one more buck left that to hold you back.
No, I feel that too. It's definitely hard to read. Like that's what's hard about this part of the draft is it's real. Like look how fast Daniels is moving up to $43 right now. You weren't getting that action and speed on the player when it was Lamar Jackson, and sometimes that first guy exits the room, right, and he is like he sort of like releases kind of the tension on that position sometimes. And I think we all are kind of willing to concede that Josh Allen at $48 is probably a little bit of a steal. Like I don't know if it's a steal, but it's a good price for Allen right now, especially when we have so much of the offseason still to come and injuries. I think, players like Josh Allen are going to be taken care of. They're not going to come into those injuries as much, and that they're going to anchor your team. Same thing with a guy like Lamar. But, when quarterback one comes off and, hey, say there's a Jaden Daniels, a guy who's a little bit younger, right? A little, coming up and maybe like looking to surpass Lamar, they might go for a little bit more. You got to kind of see exactly how it plays out. I can't remember who threw out Lamar. I think it was Be More Like Moses. And honestly, it's a good time to heat check players like that when the seal's kind of already broken, and you've got that extra idea that like there's value in that pick when you get up to that mid to high $40 range.
Yeah, and especially like I was the one that won Jaden Daniels at $47, and being that it's Dynasty, I am more than happy to pay that just because I feel like he's going to be on the up and up compared to the Caleb Williams, Drake May. Like I feel like his team's better than what he had last season. I mean, he's already got Deebo Samuel there now. They re-signed Zach Ertz, who the legend of Zach Ertz is never going to die, and that team's just going to continue to get better and better. And they traded for Laramie Tunsil, so another addition to also help Jaden Daniels out on that offensive line. So I'm all here for it.
Yeah, he's definitely has all the pieces fallen into place for him turning into just a really solid redraft and dynasty asset moving forward. So
yeah, he's ranked no lower than QB3.
Yeah,
dynasty and redraft already. Like I can say it already in redraft. There's no way he's anything less than QB3. So I purposely kind of made the nominations longer so that way we'd actually have a little bit of time to talk in between it.
That's fine. We might be here all night, but that's okay.
We got time. I got time. Ooh, Patrick Mahomes. This is one player I am still nervous about. Just because of what he can do. But, I still feel like we're almost paying just for the name now compared to what he's done over the last couple of years because he hasn't really been a QB1 last couple of years. Yeah, he's had QB1 weeks, but he's basically like QB 12 at best. You know, it's been kind of sad over the last couple of years, and losing a piece of his offensive line. Still no wide receivers. Travis Kelce's one more year. You know, is this going to be the final year for Kelce? And look how much he already fell off last season. So that's one that kind of makes me a little nervous.
Yeah, and when he jumped from like 20 something bucks to 30 something bucks is when I stopped clicking the button.
Yeah, same.
But it was like, $20 though. For I agree with everything Ryan's saying, but for $20, I'll still take Pat Mahomes. And then it jumped up to that like next tier, and it was like, nope.
Right. I think Rojo Truther did a really good move, which is to move it out of the market that was kind of like working in, because all of us are willing to put an extra dollar on it, right? Click an extra dollar. But once he jumped it to 36, I mean, like if we kept doing what we were doing, we might have brought it up to 38 for all we know, or 39. Mm-hmm. But because he put it at 36, it gave everyone that stop. What are you really gonna do here? And that's a good move. I respect it. And honestly, I will take Mahomes at that price. It's when he's priced at that top tier that I feel like you have to be a little more worried. But as a he's going to be on a competitive team competing for the playoffs every single year. It's not always going to go this way. And we know that he has the talent and ability to push himself, you know, and become a top tier quarterback again. I don't think anybody doubts that he has that in him. And in Dynasty, you know, sometimes you have to see that forest through the trees kind of thing.
Yes, sir. And I might have just won it as I got, So I got in a bidding war because Gin and Juice was going to go for the stack of having Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase. And I'm like, no, you're not. So
interesting that Gin and Juice made a clear delineation that he wasn't willing to spend as much on Burrow as he was on Chase. And it's interesting that you might not, like in some other drafts, you might see the opposite. Like some startup snake drafts, you might see Burrow go first, and like some auctions, he might go for the higher. But clearly, Gin and Juice decided to like make that line that 45 was willing to go for Chase, and it looked like he was willing to go over 40 for Burrow. So.
And I actually like it right now of having Jaden Daniels and Joe Burrow as my two quarterbacks right off the bat. So it's like, I'm all set at quarterback now, so I don't have to worry about quarterbacks the rest of the night. I just got to worry about filling in my running backs, wide receivers, tight end, and my couple flex now.
Yeah, I think if you want to get that Joe Burrow stack, you might be better off starting with Burrow than with Chase, if that makes sense. Like, you might be able to snag that. Like, you might be able to snag Burrow cheaper than you would if you're, because Chase is going to be Chase's price. Like, he's not going to be any lower than people are willing to spend for him. I think you're not going to get that extra. Oh, let's bid up, because you could have got, again, I think you probably could have got Burrow in the closer to the Mahomes price but again, getting into that bidding war. Right? If you want that guy, if you want to get that stack, I think the quarterback is less enticing, and then you can maybe sneak in that receiver, and then you could always fall back on Higgins if you don't end up with him.
Interesting, Bucky Irving here. How do you guys feel about Bucky Irving? Seth, I'll kick it off to you, man. How do you feel about Bucky Irving?
I legitimately just wanted to ask that same exact question. Is like, where's everybody at with Bucky Irving? Because he's one of these players that I just have not been. I haven't been able to find my own footing on exactly where I want to put him for this upcoming year. Because I feel like you're either in this camp of like, he is a top 5 running back and he's going to be just a workhorse. He's going to do everything possible in Tampa Bay's backfield. Or like, I feel like you're on the completely other end of it where you're like, oh, he's not going to be anything. And I find guys like that are the most fun for me to kind of toy around with, because I enjoy that weird, awkward gray area in the middle, because I feel like that's where most guys will usually end up not being at the optimistic end of their projection, but also not being all the way at the bottom and the pessimistic end of their projection. So I really want to kicking it down the group of people because I'm really interested to hear what other people think about Bucky.
Well, Kyle won him, so I'm kind of curious
There
why
we go.
he's pushing to win him.
Yeah, so right now I think I've got him ranked as my Dynasty RB6. Rookie contract guy, only in his second year, and it seems like the offense is a good offense that he'll be able to score a lot of touchdowns in. So I liked enough of what I saw. Oh, it's my turn to nominate. So let's get that. And just going with my nomination strategy here, we might see a lot of me nominating tight ends. So I noticed McBride go out early, so I thought good time to put Bowers out there. But yeah, I like Irving as, again, top 10 running back for sure, borderline top 5 guy.
No fear with Rashad White there, or a possible another running back going there?
I think I'd be more afraid of another running back than Rashad White. Bucky was able to surpass him last year, so I think, the risk is really outside of Bijan and Gibbs. I don't know that there's any running back I'm not worried about with the draft changing things for them. But I'm willing to, I guess, take the shot on Bucky. I'm curious to see like what $18 gets later in other running backs. I guess I expect the top 5 guys in Dynasty. Gentry's already one of them that's gone. I expect all of them to go higher than that, so I feel like I won't regret Bucky at $18. Maybe there's guys below him that are, that guy's a really good value, and maybe I run out of space to get one, but I don't think I'm going to feel like he was too expensive relative. Like some guy ahead of him is going to go for some huge steal of a value. I'll probably want to be in on that if it does.
Yeah, and look, bounce back to the tight ends. Like I'm looking at it, I was thinking Brock Bowers would have gone a lot more than Trey McBride, but the only difference was $1.
Yep.
Bowers went for 26 and McBride went for 25. So that one's kind of a little bit surprising to me already.
For sure.
Yeah, my only issue with Bucky is really the level of draft capital that was invested in him, and just like he's talented, but we've seen a lot of lower capital guys get work and do well, and then not always return that value later on. I think he's probably fine this year. I don't really see them drafting like a huge difference maker running back, but again, I just don't know if he has the control of the backfield that we're all looking for, because I do think he probably showed his best work while he was still working committee, and he can still be explosive and put up huge weeks in a committee setting, which doesn't scare me off of him. But I do his long-term value is harder for me to like grab hold of, but I do like Bucky. I think he'll probably be all right in this coming year.
And,
I'm nervous about him, but I can't explain it. I don't know how to.
I think honestly, it's like one of those things that like maybe it's just my bias that I wasn't really in on him that much ahead of time. I felt like he did have good games. Like I thought he looked good on film, that what he put out in the NFL. But without capital and it just not being a full year, he also got hurt throughout the year. So there might be some of that lingers throughout his career as well, that he just has trouble staying on the field long term. Which, it happens sometimes with guys. I mean, with guys like DeAndre Swift, we end up chasing them forever when they do have the talent, but they have trouble staying on the field or controlling the entirety of a backfield, or at least the strong majority of a backfield that gives us that stability that we're looking for. And that's. I mean, I'm just generally not a running back guy. You all know, we know this. This is. So I always look for those little holes that I can poke. That's just how I am.
Fair enough. I guess with the team build I'm about to have, I'm gonna suspect Bucky might be the most I spend on a running. And if
honestly, it's a great
RB1,
price.
And we'll see. I mean, Bijan just went for 47. That's as much as Ryan got Jaden Daniels, and now it's making those top end quarterbacks kind of look like a bargain. Like Lamar Jackson went for less than Bijan, so. I think those of us who went in on those early quarterbacks, which I guess that's 3 of us on the show right now, I think that we kind of played it right there.
Yeah. No, I think sometimes the deals are there, and then in a blink they're all gone. And no one's like, oh wait, all the top quarterbacks are gone and they all went for good prices. How did I miss that?
Right.
One thing to keep in mind though is we have our first auto,
Yeah.
big boy Bajan.
Yeah.
That's
So
fair.
it's possible that it's that price because that's the projected sleeper value, and because they're doing the auto, it got a little extra high there. But I do think Bajan is one of those guys you can kind of build. You don't want to necessarily build the dynasty roster around a running back, but you can have him as a central figure, especially of a win now team.
And that's what's fun about like playing auctions. Like, we were talking about how to prepare for it. Like, auctions are the ones that you can actually build win now teams without trying to say, like in Snake, where you can't really build win now teams. You kind of have to like adjust to the draft and say, like, this team is either going to be a win now team or not going to be a win now team. Like, you can see it as it's going. Where like in auctions, you can actually build it that way to say, I'm winning it this year. I'm gonna buy these players no matter the cost, and go from there.
No, for sure. And one thing I like to do in Dynasty startups specifically is, don't be afraid to go buy a bunch of win now players cheap. And if you save money at the end, and I love drafts where you can sell auction dollars for future draft picks. I love doing that as a way to kind of balance out. I'm going to buy veteran win now players who score a lot of points at a little bit cheaper. And because I'm saving all that money, I feel like I can sell throughout the auction and gain extra rookie picks. And that's what protects my long-term future. So you're still playing both angles and you're still looking towards the future. Just with the players you're selecting, you don't have to. You feel like you can just get the value on points wherever they fall.
I like that little caveat in there of being able to use your leftover auction dollars for future picks. That's fun. That's a fun little wrinkle.
For sure. I've had success doing that when it's available. So
let's see how cheap does CD Lamb actually go. That's cheap. No, he doesn't. He's not going to go cheap. I thought at first he was going to go cheap. I'm like, really? He's going to be the cheapest one here? He's going to go as the true wide receiver 4? But
I was going to say, whoever gave me hope for a minute there, because it ticked like 2 or 3 times when I had like $27 on him. I'm like, ooh, well, this could be real good.
we can only hope, but it's not turning out that way. And littering and
smoking the reefer.
Can we talk how Kyle got a $35 Jalen Hurts too? By the way, that was
35, yeah, 35, yeah.
Yeah. Snuck
Same that
in.
what Bo Nix went for.
Yeah, and that's honestly what got me off of Bo Nix, because Bo Nix was one of those guys that I was like, all right, if I don't get one of the top quarterbacks, like I can get like a Bo Nix and like pair him with like another veteran guy or something like that. And seeing him go in the mid-30s was like, no, thank you, Bo Nix. I will keep waiting.
Yeah, and there's a lot of hype behind Bo Nix still too. Like based on what he did last season, a lot of people were thinking he could actually take the next step forward and be a solid QB1. Like a lot of people have him in his rankings as a back end QB1 or high end QB2, but I could see him coming to QB1 this year.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, he finishes a QB1 this past season, I believe. So,
yeah, I could definitely see.
I think.
Oh, go ahead, Kyle.
So far, winner, I think, getting Evan Ingram added. I mean, that's only going to help him with an extra really good target to throw to.
How to get my boy Puka.
I was gonna say, Mark, you love him. He's all yours all the time.
Always.
Yeah, I think I view him as the same tier as Neighbors. So for them to go around the same price, that feels right to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's for me. Like when I'm building my nucleus in these dynasty startup auctions, I still feel like Puka's really young. He's still that top tier receiver. He's a platinum tier receiver for me still. I know people worry about like what's going on with Matthew Stafford, but I kind of trust that McVay is going to have a plan when that all kind of comes to a head. and Puka's just I mean, he gets so many targets. He's trusted with so much of the offense. Devontae Adams coming in, I think is great for just the funnel that's gonna be those 2 targets on top, and they'll probably get well over 50% of the target share. And so I'm happy with Puka as I will still take Puka happily as my wide receiver 1 just about anywhere.
Yeah, I won't complain about it. I like him as a wide receiver 1 still. I mean, even with Devontae Adams there, I still think it's going to be Puka Nakua's offense.
Yeah, he's the one that's got the connection with Stafford. It doesn't feel like that. Stafford isn't going to change everything for Adams like Aaron Rodgers might.
Right. I actually think that kind of like solidifies that Adams. I don't think he wanted to be a 1 either necessarily. I think he wanted a situation like this where he could be a really valuable, probably one of the most valuable wide receiver 2s in the league.
And you feel like they're both going to get a ton of targets. Like there's not really much else
absolutely.
beside him. So he went to a spot where, he doesn't necessarily have to face the best corners on any given week, and he'll still see a ton of targets.
Oh, absolutely. Because I mean, what did he have last season? Let's see here.
I'm sure he had well over 100, probably 120, 130.
106 targets due to the injuries.
Yeah, he was out the first 7 of 8 weeks or something like that.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, he was there week 1, and then didn't play week 2 through 7, and then came back week 8.
Yeah.
Also, did everyone see the giant bidding war? The auto drafts teams got
the $83. $83 Jahmyr
Gibbs. That's pretty wild. Yeah.
I had to double check because the projected cost was 63, and I'm like, I got to check my eyes. Is that 80? Is that what that's supposed to be? Yeah, that was a bit crazy.
Yeah, don't let anyone tell you that bots don't love drama. They will bid this up, and they will make it really dramatic. They are emotional about how much they're bidding on Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
That's pretty wild. I mean, I've spent like almost 75% of my budget on 4 players, but I still think that's the craziest thing right now is Gibbs at 82. So at least I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Hey, at least he locked up his RB1 and RB2 for the years.
Bully running back. They got Robinson and Gibbs, so they like the strategy.
I'm on the board.
Nice. Yeah, Amon Ra. I mean, I think he falls in line with that same tier of players.
Sure.
I think I've got him as my wide receiver 4 right now in Dynasty. I think you can still make the argument with him, Neighbors, Nakua. So for all of them to go at $35, $36, $37, that feels right again. So
I feel solid. I like it.
I have him above Neighbors, Collins, and Nakua just because I feel like he's in just a better situation than those 3 guys. So he's gonna hopefully be able to maintain for a while and also get a nice immediate payback too. So, the first rookie tight end.
Yeah, and I'm a little nervous here betting on him. I'm thinking about it. Do I really want to?
I'll bet $4. That's fine.
Yeah. It's like I don't want to go any higher than like. Well, I won't say until afterwards. We'll see how he goes. I almost said it, and then I was like, "Wait a minute, nope, I'm not gonna say it."
Well, it's funny. On my sheet, it's $5, so I'll say it's already doubled past that, so I'm fine.
Right. I think all these guys, as far as being rookie picks in your rookie draft, like they have a shot to, be a difference-making tight end, but like to expect that they're going to be Brock Bowers right out the gate. I mean, a lot of these guys, it takes time for them to mature and get better. So it's hard for me to put money, even if they're a good prospect, on a tight end like that in my core. So like 15 for Tyler Warren, I just need to see it before I'm willing to put that much money down for him.
Yeah, my max was 14. I would be willing to do it for it, but at the same time, like you said, Mark, it's like I gotta see where he goes first, and I don't want to bet on him now, not knowing where he's gonna go. The next thing I know, I got a $15 tight end that can't do anything for me on a crappy team.
Right. Your time to bid up was McBride and Bowers, and now it's just kind of like I think you want to get the best one at closest to the bottom of the barrel at this point. I think is more this as far as spending goes, because this is like a chess game where you have to like figure out how to allocate your dollars for each position. I think you're better off spending the more money on those other skill positions and then just paying down at tight end.
So yeah, once again, the Autobots are going at it.
Oh, is that
that's a great name for it. Yeah. But
I
nominated a rookie.
I really love Hampton, and I honestly like he's my guy that like I feel like there's always that guy who's like, all right, he's not going to be the 101, but he has the likelihood to be the best performing guy of the year. Hampton's my guy for that, and
although based on his price he just went for, he would be the 101.
He would be the 101. Yeah, I was like, oh, I love it. He's going higher than Genty, and I was like, oh wait, never mind. It's the Autobots.
Taco's feeling vindicated over in the one slot now. That's really where it is. I like it.
Seriously, yeah.
I mean, really, that's I mean, you could argue Bucky too, but Genty now $31 feels like a big running back steal. Oh, yeah. But I mean, we're gonna have plenty more come off the board here soon, and I'm sure that we're not everyone's gonna have that much money left at that point.
Yeah. And I mean, that's why I decided I was the one who nominated Hampton, and Bowers felt like an obvious nomination last time. This time, let's throw another rookie out and see. And yeah, I guess you like seeing other people spend money.
Yeah. Right. I think rookie fever is like the best. Honestly, the best way to drain money from a room more than anything, because people are going to spend up. And the other thing that I find happens in Dynasty leagues, what is going on here? The other thing I find that happens in Dynasty leagues is, people start to worry that they don't have enough rookies or like enough rookie picks. Like if you do a snake draft and some of the rookie draft picks end up going, you know what I'm talking about? Then like they're picking a lot of kickers. They're like, oh, I got to get some rookie draft picks before they're all gone.
But then there's players that are still on the board where you might want to give up a pick straight up for that player. So.
Right. So I think throwing that those rookie dollars out there is probably good in a dynasty setting, because for me at least, a lot of the leagues I end up playing in, they skew very young, and I mean, you can still get young players. You can get a good young dynasty core without like overplaying that hand. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people I feel like say, oh, I really want, it's not likely we're going to win, this year. The idea is that it's not likely that that you're going to win outright in the first year. Not everyone can win. So let's build better for the future. But, you're not necessarily building better for the future if all those players don't hit.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Great win there, Scott. Justin Herbert for $29. Nice value.
Yeah.
Great, Scott.
Great. Yeah, it's I feel like Herbert's one of those guys. If he gets enough people around him, he's gonna finally be able to get to that point that everybody wanted him to get to. Like I feel like he's never quite gotten there yet, and like been able to maintain it. We'll see what happens with this year, but maybe another year with Ladd and we get a little bit better.
Sorry, I had to run off real quick.
No worries. No, do you see them taking another pass catching weapon in the draft? The Chargers, like either a tight end, maybe a Tyler Warren, or I don't think they're probably likely to go for maybe Ted McMillan, but
they might not take one early, but they'll probably take shots even if it's round 3, round 4 at either a receiver or tight end. I don't see them leaving the draft without addressing it entirely. It remains to be seen whether or not it's early. I think maybe they might, because they're late enough in the first round where if a receiver there they think is worthy of a first rounder, they might view him as a value.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they have to take a shot at somebody. Like I just pulled up the depth chart for him, and there's not a whole lot behind Ladd. Like they're not much at the tight end position, not much at any of the wide receiver positions. It's a little bleak there, but I feel like they have to take a shot, at least one or two.
All right, so we're about 40 minutes in the draft, so I updated the time to nominate 10 seconds and to bid on it 10 seconds. So after this pick, we should start moving faster through picks because we're already 40 minutes in.
That's good.
And I just want to go back to Mark's point earlier about like rookies, rookie picks in the startup. I think this format where the rookies, we're naming the rookies themselves, and it's not just rookie picks. I think that's where they'll tend to really go high value. Whereas I can understand spending more on the rookie picks because you can move them later without them still, projected to be the player. Whereas right now you commit to that player, you're committed. So in this format, I feel like I wouldn't be shocked if I don't get a single rookie unless they're close to minimum or if not minimum.
Exactly. I'm with you on that, Kyle. Like, I feel the same way. It's like, I wanted to throw rookies here to see how people would feel about them instead of just doing like, some team, like you can do like a kicker and the guy who drafts the highest dollar kicker gets the 101 rookie pick, where this one we kind of get an idea and give people an idea of how much rookies are going to go for before the NFL draft. Because we're looking to also do another draft just like this again after the NFL draft to see how this all changes up. I can tell you, Jahmyr Gibbs will not go for $82 next draft. I hope not, at least. Or Omarion Hampton not going for $59 also.
Omarion Hampton going as the RB2 for the number 2 player overall. We expect to see. But again, sometimes in an auction, things could go out of whack. The order a player goes so late, and there's a desperation to get them, and people are willing to spend more. Last player in a tier.
I really want to know what their bot algorithm is, because that, like, I can't figure out why. Is it because they're calculating like rookie picks in with it? You know what I mean? Like, is it because they're calculating like rookie draft auctions, like rookie only, that they would go that high? It's like crazy. I mean, like the fact that Omarion Hampton went that high is insane.
Or does it have to do something with like the calculation of the budget? Like, I haven't spent $1 yet, but I could spend $60 max on this guy because I have $200 still, and the players that I think are available aren't worth that much. So I'm gonna try to lock them up now. Maybe that's what the bot thinks. But who knows what these bot things? I'll have to ask Sleeper. I mean, look at Saquon Barkley, $57. I mean, at least these bots spend money, so that's good. So at least we can knock them out quickly and then kind of just wait. But it also sucks at the same time.
Because you're seeing all these players get nominated that you might want in that process before the bots get booted out.
And the one thing I'll say in defense of the bots is there are going to be people like this that might end up in your drafts. Like there's definitely, there's definitely people that will get whatever thing they want, whether it's a AAV, whether it's some kind of rankings, whether it's some kind of projections, and it'll just, I'm going to stay right along these lines, and if it varies any, I'm not going to feel, I'm not going to make a move for it. There's other people that are like, nope, I like that guy. To Mark's earlier point about like the dude that likes the Eagles, and you can kind of take advantage by throwing those Eagle players out early. If there's somebody that like absolutely thinks, this dude's a stud, or maybe you don't know, and maybe it ends up in a bidding war like this, and it just keeps going up, and you're like, wow, that is crazy. You're gonna have some drafts where that happens.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's why you want to know your league. Like, why knowing your league is one of the more important aspects of playing an auction in general, is you just need to know the tendencies better. And I think you need that in redraft too, but I think it's a little more situational because, again, like, you have just one side of the board, and there's still going to be a general consensus of who's going to go in that far side. So maybe you only have to work among, say you're at the 8, you're at the 10 spot in a 12-team league. So you might really only need to know 11, 12, 8, and 9 and sort of know what their tendencies are. You let the other half of the board do their thing, and then you just sort of see what comes around when you do. But when you're in the auction, you want to know what everybody's doing. And sometimes when a guy comes up, situation is like, oh yeah, this dude likes the Eagles. He nominated this Eagle. He probably wants him on his roster. what am I doing? Somebody stick me with this. That was a bet. I don't know why I just bid on George Kittle for $19. Yeah, no, I think I'll take him. I think that really, if you know what somebody's tendency is, that's where you can make the most headway in terms of like winning auction dollars, and helping drain money from the room from other players.
Yeah. Derrick Henry's one of those guys I like in Dynasty because I think he's just like an alien that is still like he's one of those guys where it's just like I'm just gonna believe it until I see that it's not true anymore, and I'm just gonna let the bots just go right now, and just somebody's gonna one of them is gonna drop $60-$70 on Derrick Henry right now. You feel it.
44 still seems like a lot though relative to other players.
44 does feel like a lot.
Can I also? I didn't get a chance to say this. I'm like a little sad that I won Caleb Williams for $28. Like it's like one of those ones where like I have high hopes for the Chicago turning things around this year. I really didn't want to invest that much money in Caleb Williams though.
Yeah, well. I didn't really want to bid on George Kittle, but I did. So. Never let me bid when I'm talking. That's my rope. I'm trying to do both of these things at once. I knew this is why we had me as the host in the first place. I'll do anything when I'm in the middle of a sentence. Like you can, it's gonna happen, but we'll be all right. Well,
thanks for joining us for the mock then.
That's right.
One person dropped out right before it started. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
That's all right. That's Jordan Love for $20. Like that's, yeah. I mean, 19. Jordan Love for $19 is a steal.
That's not a bad pickup there.
Like I'd be much happier with Jordan Love for 19 than Caleb Williams for 28 or whatever I spent on him.
Shoot, I'd take Baker Mayfield at 21.
Mm-hmm.
He was a QB4 last season. That's a steal right there.
Yeah, I think there's a little more longevity than people are willing to give credit to Baker Mayfield for. He could still be this good for the next, at least 3-4 years, right? I mean, like at this point, he's kind of past the he's got to have the system right. He's got to have everything right. As long as he's got Evans and Godwin are a little bit older, but as long as he has a decent, passing game, receivers, and they have young players, I think he's just like a good NFL quarterback now. Not like a great NFL quarterback, but a good one, and certainly for fantasy, he's a good one. He's got that don't give a what about his body, so he'll take all the hits. It's very very Fitzpatrick like in how he does it. So I could see his 30s being prime Baker time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if he keeps if he runs and maybe runs a little smarter at times, but is able to still run, I think he's going to be just a very solid quarterback for, like you said, the next couple of years at least.
Plus, he's got Chris Godwin for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
You got Jalen McMillan, who's taking a step back with Chris Godwin coming back, but still he's still there. And then how many more years of Mike Evans do we have left? 1, 2? I mean, he's getting up there in age now.
He is getting up there. At least 1. You'd like to think 2, but it's hard to know. The thing is, though, he's very much just like a get up and get a rebound kind of guy, and I feel like that, as long as you can keep doing that, it still could last a little longer than we expect. Because I don't think people were expecting this either from Evans at this point.
Yeah. No, not at all. Like, a lot of people thought Evans was going to actually fall and not hit the milestone, but he did it, and he's the only receiver to do it since I forget who, but to be 1,000-yard receiver. Actually, he might be the only one to have all the back-to-back. I think even over Jerry Rice.
I think he and Jerry Rice might have the same amount, but like Rice didn't do it from the start of his career, whereas like Evans, every year of his career,
It's like open and shut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
no one's done it this long since the start of their career.
Yeah. Got me some Jackson Smith and Jigba. Just because I want to say it all the time.
I mean, that was a good value at $19. Garrett Wilson went for $18. Rasheed Rice, I clicked a second too late because I saw $8 and I thought, okay, yeah, I should definitely add to that. And no, it slipped past my fingers. So great value on for all three of those. Actually, getting the McConkey stack too is pretty good for you, Scott.
Yeah, again, it's a little more pricey than I was originally anticipating, but and here go the Autobots with the running back bids.
I love running backs. I don't understand it. They don't like the wide receivers, but they like the running backs.
Mm-hmm.
They must be trying to tell us something.
So that makes me even happier about the Bucky Irving price now that it got what it did.
I mean, even with my ambiguity of of his situation, yeah, like he compared to everybody else right now, it's an absolute steal at $18.
I suppose I didn't bet on the quarterback here. Cam Ward, $7. That's not a bad deal, I think, for Cam Ward, especially if he goes to the Titans. I wouldn't mind that as my QB 3, 4 for $7. I'd be down for that, especially in Superflex.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Kyler Murray coming in right now. Does he stay off the video games this year and actually like throw to Marvin Harrison Jr. or does he just think keep playing Call of Duty?
That is the greatest data visualization I think I've ever seen for fantasy football, where it's his points to the Call of Duty release date, and it's like good release date drops off the like, and then it like slowly comes back, and then it drops off the next release.
I'll take Kyler playing Call of Duty. I think it's
21's a great price. Like
I think it's still he's still going to be a rushing quarterback. He's still going to have a job, and he's still going to have. And even if he's not with the Cardinals, he's going to have a job next year and the year after that probably as well. I don't think people are giving up necessarily fully on Kyler because of the talent and the skill set, and he does do what you want him to do for fantasy, which is rush to give you that high floor. And he is a capable passer. It's hard to see the consistency sometimes, but you're hoping that really the Cardinals are a dump of an organization right now, and you'd hope that they do a little bit more to just like put support around him. But I'm still fine with Kyler, especially in the QB2 market. Like he's going to be just fine for me, and I'm happy to get him at 21.
Yeah, that's a nice pairing, especially with Lamar Jackson. I mean, you have 2 rushing upside quarterbacks, 2 quarterbacks who could finish as the QB1. So not a bad move there, especially get the discount of Kyler Murray at 21.
Well, I'm looking at my QB combo, Allen and Hurts versus Lamar and Murray, and I think you spent $16 less. So like that might be worth it to what you're saving. Like what can you do with that money? Like the extra $16 spent there, like. Yeah. Might be worth it to tear down from Hurts to Murray at that price. It
might, yeah. You're right about that, but I mean, like, I don't know. Hurts for $35 is like one of those things, kind of that I feel like if it comes to you like that, like you can't say no to it being on your roster. I still think it's a mega steal at 35.
Yeah, I would love that at the QB1, but for it to be QB2 as well. Like that's even.
Right, yeah. If you did Hurts Murray, Hurts Murray might even be that may be the way to go through it.
Yeah, that would be
that happen.
Discounts on both, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So McMillan for a little more than Cam Ward.
Oh, I'm out.
Yep.
The Autobots outbid me on Sam Laporta.
Is he gonna go as the tight end 1?
I was like hovering over the button too. I'm like, yeah, oh nope,
not quite. Just they're disciplined, right? They didn't make him the tight end 1, so they stayed true to form there, I guess, for value.
I'm just like, man, I was like, oh yeah, I'll take him for $15, $16, and then he goes to 22. I'm like, yep, I'm out. It was almost like a Shark Tank, and for that reason, I'm out.
These bots do not help me want to spend up at a running back.
No, they're good at spending up on him though.
Yeah, they are.
But I mean, like, there's plenty of like running backs still left. Like, so Jonathan Taylor's out there right now. You still have Connor Williams, James Cook, Christian McCaffrey, the rookies, outside of Genty and Hampton, and there's plenty of depth out there. And like, as you and I talked before, Mark, on our running back dynasty and tiers, we kind of already said like it was Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Ashton Genty, and then it's just a mixed match of everyone else.
If you want to argue Saquon Barkley, you can put him in that tier too. I have no problem with you doing that.
Yes, agree.
And then yeah, you can even Saquon just on the age factor, you can start to poke holes. Obviously, generational talent in Saquon. He's the one that we should have always just been saying generational talent about, and that was it. That's end of list. But yeah, no, I think that's it. Like after that, you can just start poking holes in whatever whatever argument you kind of want to make when it comes to running backs. So that's what when the prices like this go up, it's an easy option for me to pass.
Oh yeah, it's like I'm out, no problem. That's easy.
Yeah.
And sorry, Seth, for stealing AJ Brown from you.
He was gonna be that guy who was like, all right, $20. If I can get him for 20, I'm good. And
I even think 21's pretty good. I kind of
damn it, like it.
kind of regretting a little bit just letting him go for 21, but
yeah,
I was like, oh no, he can't go for 20, 21.
It doesn't get talked about enough that AJ Brown was injured to begin this past season, and obviously, the drama and the reading on the sideline that everybody wants to have, that they're talking about. I do think that there's a lot of potential for a huge bounce back year for AJ Brown.
And he's only 27 years old.
Right.
Like, really, some people want to say he's like around 30. I'm like, he's only 27.
Well, he's at that point where he's dynasty dead. Basically, people can't fathom a player at 27 years old still being good.
Yeah, it's over the hill.
Yes, so his dynasty value is gonna go down, and but I don't think the performance is gonna go down. I think he's gonna be one of those players that you're gonna be happy having him riding into into his 30s, and I can't imagine, with they're trying to ban the tush push and all this, that maybe it starts to lean a little bit more passing next year.
I hope so. But looking at Gin and Juice got JJ McCarthy, and I was just like thinking, I'm like, man, that'd be a good QB to have. But he has that and Drake May, so he's going on 2 quarterbacks as his starting quarterbacks. Hoping JJ McCarthy can become what he was. But does he?
Hope Drake May gets a receiver. My goodness.
He did get one. He got Stephon Diggs.
Oh yeah, well that's true. I imagine he'll probably still. He's gonna get a ton of targets. That's for sure.
Well, they still need a receiver there. I'd love to see Travis Hunter there, but I've been hearing rumors of Travis Hunter going number 2 now.
Yeah. I would hope. I'm kind of.
Not to Cleveland. Please don't go to Cleveland.
The rookie draft always brings out like that little glimmer of when I was like an actual Giants fan, and I really hope that Travis Hunter goes to New York. I think that would be like a ton of fun.
That'd make more sense.
Travis Hunter to New York, and then hey, why not Shedeur Sanders come in the second round? We don't need him as a first rounder. Let's get him in the second round.
I don't think Sanders makes it in the second round. I think he drops, but I think a team like Pittsburgh will actually come up and try to get him.
Pittsburgh probably would probably take him, I think.
Kyle, I thought they were going to let you go with Devonta Smith for $8. I was like, that's a good one. You're about to get a real good steal there and get your stack, and now you're going to be paying as much for Devonta as Jalen Hurts. in an auction draft like this, where do you lean in terms of stacking? Does it come into your mind at all? Does it give you like, I feel like it's become such a part of the norm now that if you don't have some kind of stack, then you're not playing the game the right way. But I feel like with something like this, there's a lot more room for variance. So I'm curious what all of your thoughts are with stacks in a format like this.
So I got the stack with T. Higgins. I like it, and I feel like I got him as a steal compared to what Chase went for. So pairing him up with Joe Burrow is great. But also at the same time, like if you're doing stack, I always feel like the stack's always better than like in best ball compared to weekly lineups. It's like if you have best ball, you have Higgins getting that 2 touchdowns and Joe Burrow throws 4. It's a benefit to you, but of course these 2 players I'm never going to bench, and then getting Higgins as my wide receiver 3 right now is I'm running circles. I'm actually doing victory laps right now in my chair. I'm taking the chair underneath me. It's going around in circles. I'm victory lapping.
Yeah, to be honest, it's kind of tough to force that issue, Seth. Like you do want to make a stack. It's tough at the top end of the draft, especially if you're going to draft like a top tier quarterback. I think it's going to be hard for you to nail your stack. But that's kind of why I like targeting high end quarterback, like a guy like Josh Allen. He doesn't really have an expensive number one. Here like James Cook, $32, say whatever you want, but like you can stack a lot of different ways with a guy like Josh Allen. You can stack a lot of different ways with Lamar that you're not spending too much on that stack piece. That's fine. And then I think after that, like it's tough. I think it's easier when you get kind of further back in the draft with some of the players, and then you can maybe find a stack. It's easier to not force the issue. But that top tier, I think, like Justin Herbert, people are going to be like looking and prowling for Lad McConkey, and looks like you got him right. You got the stack there, which is good, and honestly, it's a pretty decent price for both. If it's really kind of just about avoiding the overpay just because you want to get a stack, I think is the hard part.
And I almost feel like with auction, you get the person that's like, oh, well, I know he's going to spend another $1 because he wants the stack. So I'm going to $33, $34. I know you want that stack, $35.
Right.
I feel like it becomes, you almost put a target on your bids now, because it's like, oh, well, you have I'm trying to think of a better example than my own, but just when you have that stack looking at everybody, it becomes easy to play the villain of somebody else's story of, I'm gonna make you pay $5 extra, and I'm gonna feel good about it. But yeah, it just I don't know, it just seems like one of those things where it seems like it's almost overplayed the stacking for especially like a draft like this.
Well, I just stacked Dalton Kincaid with Josh Allen, but I was kind of just naturally nominating those tier tight ends anyway. So Kincaid was kind of the next guy up, and so it just kind of fell to me that he went for only $4. So I thought that was worth it there to get that stack. And I've kind of solved tight end, and I feel like I've kind of got out. I really don't have to spend anything. Like, don't really bid up any more tight ends. I might continue to nominate and see if I get a backup. But
Right. Again, I think anywhere that you can find it that you're not forcing the issue, is like your best strategy. People are going to try and bid up, though. I think you just have to have that discipline to say, like, okay, I'm not gonna throw out the nomination. I'm gonna let other people nominate the guy that I want to stack with, and I'm gonna bid when it's acceptable. But you also gotta, especially if you have the quarterback, I think you have to just be okay with like there being
Yeah.
Like I could get a couple different guys. I don't have to get the first guy. I can get the second guy and it will still be helpful. Or, this might be like when you're doing the auctions, it's not necessarily a bad idea if you want to do the team stack where you're maybe doing like 2 receivers or something at a cheaper price. I mean, you don't necessarily want them to be like the main like part of your core. You don't want 2 necessarily receivers or like receiver running back in the early part of your core. But I think you can do it if you say like, oh yeah, I've got say say I've got Devontae Smith. I don't have Jalen Hurts, right? But like if I wanted to team stack and have Goddard as one of, he's got Tyler Warren, maybe he has Goddard as a second tight end that he comes up with. Like that kind of stack is easily way more easy to acquire. People aren't on the radar for that thing. And when you have 2 offenses that kind of blow up or do well for you, they can still kind of lift all boats, even though it's not necessarily the quarterback who's doing the lifting.
Right. It's kind of nice. I got my stack while talking about stacks. Thanks, guys.
There you go.
Yeah, Doomsday Caleb. Yeah, that was a really great price.
I feel like he's got so much room for just target volume.
Oh yeah, especially with Keenan Allen possibly gone now.
Mm-hmm.
Like absolutely.
And he had weeks last year where he had double-digit targets with, a packed receiver room. So, like the opportunity there for him to get even better this coming year.
And just to like the stack, okay, I didn't overpay for the AJ Brown or Devontae Smith stack, although again, I think you got AJ Brown still a good price, Ryan. But then inadvertently getting the cheap Kincaid stack worked great. And now because I didn't overspend on other receivers, let me get Flowers as a really cheap wide receiver too.
Yeah,
That's solid.
Yeah, I like it.
Penix going for 6 is actually pretty good too. So great job, whoever got that.
Yeah, I didn't do a very good job of scanning the Autobots max bids when I threw out the Christian McCaffrey one. Because I was like, I could throw a $20 bid out for McCaffrey because if I win it, I'll be fine. And the auto bids are the Autobots are probably going to go for push that up even higher. 24 was the max that they could have spent, and now it's like a little bit more than where I would have wanted my running back to be. But I feel like McCaffrey. I wish I was more of a doctor to be able to say exactly like what's going on with him and whatnot. But I feel like if there's a running back that could come back from some calf issues, I feel like McCaffrey has the mentality to do so. Kind of like Adrian Peterson, he had like that mentality to come back when ACL injuries were career enders for running backs. He kind of went against that. I feel like CMC could have a similar type of narrative, but that might just be wishful thinking.
No, I agree with you on that, Seth. I actually think because like McCaffrey missed the beginning of the season, and then we saw him come back and play against the Bills, and he started looking extremely good there. I'm like, this is it. This is the RB1 season. This is going to be the league winner, and then he gets hurt again, and then he's out for the season. Mm-hmm. And that is what killed everyone. That's what's killing his value in Dynasty. He's on the wrong side of the age spectrum, if you want to look at it like that, especially for running backs. He's already 28, so and he's got a lot of carries. He's got a lot of injuries behind him, so that's one reason why he's actually starting to fall now.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the fact that they got rid of Eli Mitchell signed elsewhere, Jordan Mason signed elsewhere. I'm not saying that they won't try and get somebody in the draft. They will. But it kind of makes me feel a little better than I did going into the draft now with McCaffrey. I got to feel like, there's at least the vote of confidence that they're like, okay, they can't just settle and say like, hey, we're going to get rid of all of our running back depth and then just assume that like Christian McCaffrey is still like not going to be good to go. I feel like they're still going to have to lean on him in some way, shape, or form because they've really kind of just taken most of that room away. I mean, what have they got? They got Izzy Abanikanda on the roster right now, or no, he's not even there anymore either.
Garendo, I think.
It's Garendo. It's Garendo, and I mean they can. I still think Garendo's fine, but I don't know if they're like willing to just get rid of a guy like Mason necessarily, if they didn't still have some level of belief in McCaffrey.
Yep.
But they could just take a high running back in the draft and completely change my mind. So there's also that.
And that's the biggest fear we have coming in the next few weeks is where do these running backs go?
Yeah.
All these rookies. That's what I'm so scared. I'm just like, yeah, I like the rookie running backs, but it's like, who are they going to displace?
Right.
Yeah. And I'm excited for the discounts that are about to happen too, because there's going to be a team that drafts a running back in the 4th or 5th round that people are going to be like, oh, I love this guy. He's amazing. And he's not going to do anything in the season. He's going to drive that starter, that, veteran back's price down for auction value as well as what you're going to have to pay in terms of draft capital to get him on your team. And that to me is one of the things that I love. I love going against consensus with those running back picks because, yes, the NFL is very tumultuous of a career choice in terms if you're a running back, but there is a level of consistency, if you will, where that rookie still needs to, supplant the veteran that's there. And I think people kind of take it for granted, it's a guy that I like. He's just gonna do it. And it's not always that easy.
Right. We talk all the time about how until it's proven otherwise in the NFL, these are all lottery tickets. And some lottery tickets have more return on investment value than others. But at the end of the day, as you get to a certain point of the draft, it's kind of just like, okay, well, this is a 1 in 6 chance that any of these picks, whether you're the first pick in the 3rd round or the second or the last pick in the 3rd round, that any of these are going to hit for you. So it's, 3rd round more so, but even as you get into the 2nd and 1st round, there are plenty of back end first round talents that don't hit, and it happens every year. There's always a few of them in the 1st round that bust. It's never. I don't think we've had. Even last year, we had a really clean, especially for Superflex, a really clean 1st round of the draft, and it's not like everybody was an amazing pick for you last year, although most of them were really pretty good.
Yeah. There was actually a project I was working on back in the day of looking specifically at running backs in the back of the 1st round. And especially if you were like the 2nd running back taken in the back of the 1st round, like your odds of winning were just like really bad. Like there was a pretty long stretch of time where, being taken in that last like 20 to 32 picks was like, nope. Even though they're a 1st round running back, that's a precarious situation right there. And way more so than you think for, a 1st round running back. But that's, that was going back to like 2010, and now it's a little bit more dated, the data. It's looking at guys like David Wilson for the Giants and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it was all the way up until I think I stopped collecting that data around like CEH time, because he was that back of the 1st pick.
These bots and these freaking running backs, man. It's like you can't get a good deal on running backs right now.
Well, that was wide receiver 1 academy that one Judkins there. I like that pick though. $9 for Henderson, $10 for Judkins.
I just feel like wide receiver 1 academy because he has so much money left over. He's going to be outbidding everyone because he's going to have to.
And there's still plenty of values left out there too.
I mean, he's got the advantage. I think wide receiver 1 academy, the highest players Mayfield at 21. So looks like they've been really disciplined at just taking players at value, and now that they kind of have the money to push around.
Yep.
That's how you do it.
Push me out of it.
Yeah, and now for me, I'm going to be like, I want this guy for $1, $2. Again, he gets to play the villain in my story, taking all the guys that I want for just $1 more than I can afford.
And it's funny, like you look at the board right now, like we're like more than halfway through the draft. Our lineups are almost full. Mark, you and I both don't have running backs, and neither does Rojo Truther. We're the only ones that have not drafted one running back at all.
That's fine. My running back picks, whether it's a linear or it's a dynasty. I mean, like I don't really start taking them unless they're like a really good value where they're going.
Well, where are we getting those values?
Yeah, I mean, round 8, round 9. That's usually my first running back in dynasty startups, to be honest. But I just need money, so I'm just waiting it out till the prices come a little further down.
I thought about David Montgomery there at 6 because he's one of my. I mean, homer pick right there would have been for me, but can't do it. Not at $6. This could be his final year there. Who knows? Although he did sign another, I think it's 2 years. So I think he might have 2 more years left on his contract. But there's still plenty of value in running backs out there. Plenty of values at tight ends. Quarterbacks are still out there. Some of them are still. Their starters are still out there, but it's starting to dry up pretty much.
You really have your lotto ticket like quarterbacks now. You know, like Justin Fields, Anthony Richardson. Those are guys that like you're constantly hoping for them to put it all together. It's just a matter of if they ever actually will.
And Kyle, being a jerk, just stole another tight end because we were talking and I wasn't paying attention.
Oh,
gets everything for $1.
Yeah, I also wasn't paying attention and realized I didn't even nominate. But yeah, I mean that's the key there, right? Is just at this point, I think I'm just going to nominate tight ends, and if I get them for $1, so be it. Now that I've got 2, push it any further, I don't know, but yeah, I get the good value, I'll take them. Because yeah, with the tight end premium, I don't mind rostering multiple. I've got the kind of high upside in Kincaid, and Ingram seems like a safe target for, especially at Denver. So I've got kind of the 2 archetypes. So yeah,
I like it.
Don't mind that build. I think I'm the first person with multiple tight ends, so I'm the 2 tight end guy, and yet I think I've spent the least amount of money on tight end that anyone actually has. So I'll build through the tight end that way. Just take as many cheap options as possible.
I mean, it's a great cheap committee, to be honest. Like $5 for those 2 with it the stack to boot. You know, I think that's great for you, Kyle.
Yeah, I like it. I can complain about it all I want because I'm jealous of it, and that's the only way I'm gonna complain about it.
And
but
if
yes,
I'm being honest,
I like it.
I think the Bills want to still do a little more through Dalton Kincaid. I think there's still some to be desired. I think they are, you know, tight end again. There is that maturation process, and like year 2, year 3, like we could still see a pretty large jump from Kincaid in the pecking order, especially since they haven't actually like invested a ton of money in their like skill position team.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like they've kind of sent us the message the last couple of years that they haven't invested much, and so they're clearly banking on Kincaid being a big piece of the offense. So yeah, I mean, there were a lot of games last year they just weren't running. So his target share looks pretty decent. They were just a run heavy offense at times when they could afford to.
So now the question, Kyle, are you going to continue hitting tight ends with the, hope and the hypothetical continuation of this draft that you would then be able to trade those tight ends in a tight end premium?
Sure. Yeah. If it's not costing me much for my budget, then it doesn't really hurt me to hold that much. And if I can gain future value from it later, then I guess even better. So yeah, you might still continue to see me nominate tight ends. I think up to this point, I've been alternating nominating tight ends and nominating rookies. So I know, who knows? I might just continue to go down that path and continue just alternating those positions, and not really positions I'm looking to get the players at. So if I ever sneak them in for cheap or for minimum, then that's great. If not, let other people spend the money.
Yeah, I feel like that's always a dangerous game to play, depending on, again, how much your league. Because there's definitely been situations where I'm like, oh, I can pick up another guy here. I'll be able to trade him. Like, this is a person of high value. It'll be easy to trade him. And then it's like I'm stuck rostering like 3 quarterbacks in a 1-quarterback league, or something along those lines, where it's like you go in feeling like you should be able to make a move, and then in actuality, it just becomes so difficult to actually move anyone.
No, for sure. So I think I'll have to be careful to just not roster too many tight ends. I think to have Kincaid and Ingram, like I'm also not just going to nominate random tight ends at the bottom of the pile. Like I am going to follow the Dynasty order.
Yeah.
That's the order I'm kind of nominating to. And I've done that with the rookies too. Like I've nominated Hampton, I've nominated Cam Ward. Like I'm picking these for nominating guys. I really do want to go for the higher end guys that if I do get them for $1, that's great. That's value. Yeah. And if not, if I nominate some 3rd, 4th rounder, well, no one else is going to want them. I'm going to get them for $1 easily, but that's one roster spot that I'm taking up.
Yeah.
Man, I can't even play in a room with you anymore, Ryan. You just you just take all the same cheap running back buys that I want.
Hey, they just signed a new contract, so why wouldn't I do that?
I'm not hating you for it.
Didn't you just
I am a little bit
the dumpster fire of an organization right now?
Oh, they definitely are. I'm not denying that whatsoever.
But he just gets all the carries.
Yeah.
And again, he'll get there'll be a running back that's drafted in front of him, and everybody will want them, and he'll go for even cheaper than he is here.
Yep.
And then I was actually surprised. I actually pulled Anthony Richardson off for $2. It could either be a $2 drop or a $2 lottery ticket that could actually become trade value. If he actually take that raw talent that everyone's talked about and became something.
Yeah, your best hope is that he has a week 1 where he does something amazing and somebody comes knocking and you're able to move them.
Oh, I'd move him right away. Like if someone gave me an offer, I'd be like, "Yep, see ya." You can have the headache.
I honestly feel like that's a lost part of the equation for a lot of people. I had to nominate. Is the fact that like in any type of managed league, like you might have a guy that they had all these boom weeks, right? But if they had like a handful of boom weeks, even if they were 50 points, what's the likelihood that you actually put them in your starting roster when they had that? Because if they had, a 3-point week, a 3-point week, a 3-point week, a 3-point week, and then a 50-point week, chances are they're not in anybody's roster because they were trash for those 4 weeks leading up to it. And then you get into the psychological issue of, well, now I can't take them out of the lineup again, and they're going to get you another 5 points over the next 2 weeks because you're stuck waiting on something to explode again. And like I said, I feel like that's a lost part of the equation with a managed league, and particularly those guys that everyone's like, oh, well, I want to hit a home run. Yeah, everybody wants to hit a home run, but unlike modern day MLB baseball, where strike out 20 times and hit one home run and you still look like you're doing decent for your team, like it's not helpful to have one boom week in a season or 2 or 3 when you're actually hurting the roster, the starting roster for the other 14 games of the season. Where do you
absolutely
on that?
I love getting Chris Godwin for $4. That was a solid steal.
Yeah, no good value there.
I was like, woohoo! I was getting nervous there at first. It's like, sorry, Kyle, I'm not letting you get him for $2. The love of Mark Andrews is definitely still up there for some. That's good value right there, Mark.
I'll take him at $4 for sure.
Yeah.
To be honest, George Kittle was a mistake. We're gonna go past that. I think $4 for Mark Andrews definitely helps out. Tight end premium if they both have it in the tank. I think not enough is really said about the car accident that Mark Andrews sort of was coming into the season coming off injured with. So I do think he still was a very productive tight end last year. So I am willing to kind of take the shot again, and if it's going to come for $4, it's hard to say no to that.
Come on, somebody, anybody? No, okay, I'll take Dobbins for $2, I guess.
No one knows where it's at. It's like no one's. I haven't even heard anyone say anything about him at all. Yeah, like the season ended, and then that's all you heard.
Now, last year he signed a little late with the Chargers as well. So
I feel like he's one of those guys that he's going to land somewhere. You know what I mean? And he's going to be valuable. I would have liked somebody else to come in with like $3 there, but I'm all right with it. It looks terrible with him being in my starting lineup right now. I'd much rather him be all the way at the bottom in the bench spot, so it doesn't look quite so crazy. But it's all right.
So the rosters are all starting to fill up now. It's actually looking a lot better. Running backs are now no more for Mark and I. We actually both have a running back. You got James Conner at $9. I got Tony Pollard at $4. Rojo Truther got Travis Etienne at $7. So remember when he was such like the RB1 at one point where everyone was all in love with him?
Yes.
Yep.
That's the thing about running backs. Like what's hot one year all of a sudden is not the next. Mm-hmm. Although I don't know if Rojo ever really got that hot, but people hyped him up like he was that hot.
Oh yeah, and then he had a good season 2 seasons ago, but then last season it just faltered, man. He just fell down. There was no getting back from it. But I mean, Tony Pollard, Aaron Jones for $9 combination, I will take that all day long.
I kind of like Pacheco as an RB2 for $5.
Yeah, you can't go wrong there because that's an interesting offense, especially like I said with Patrick Mahomes. I having receivers. It's like, does he take the next step or is Pacheco actually? And get Pacheco, I think you got the injury discount on him too because when he came back, he didn't look like himself like he did at the beginning of the season,
or like he's looked really any other point through his career. Like it's. To judge him just on this one little small sample size seems like it's a little short-sighted. So, yeah, I'm definitely buying in the bounce back for sure. And
it's pretty difficult to expect that the Chiefs are going to put a lot of capital into another running back. I mean, he was a 7th rounder, I think, right? Pacheco was. And so I think the Chiefs might take a shot on a running, but ultimately I think if Pacheco can produce, I think they'll still give him the shot to be the guy. I don't think it's ever gonna get he's still gonna be a little more committee back than we might want, but still I think he could definitely get the lion's share of the work.
I mean, I do think there was definitely some lingering issues with his injury because he just not to take anything away from what Kareem Hunt did towards the end of the season there, but like the fact that Kareem Hunt just looked much better than Pacheco did, and Pacheco had been just such just a straight line. Like, I'm going to pick up these yards. I'm going to go into contact. I'm going to, I'm going to just run the real, nose to the grindstone type of runner, and then turn into, just seemed like he wasn't able to get that same, that's just that same type of like pop and explosiveness that he was running with. It looked like that was just a much better back at 30 than Pacheco was, and I don't think that's the truth of what we'll see this season. But the year, it just looked like he just was not himself anymore.
Yeah, but you also see, that's the thing about those running backs, though. Those late running back draft picks, those those Chris Carson types, they run hard, they exert all that energy out in the field, they get banged up a little bit more than you're willing to. James Robinson, whatever, and I feel like once that injury cliff, if it comes hard, it might not it might be the end. It's hard to really know. That's the hardest thing about Pacheco for me, is like he's the capital, just the like, I don't think he's some kind of elite athlete. I don't think anyone's really conceding that he's like an elite level athlete. I think he's just a hard runner, and he's good in the system. And if the injury is great enough, it could be like one that sees his way out of the league from here on out. But also, it's hard to just ignore that he's the incumbent running back on a championship contending roster right now.
Yep. Okay.
All right, Mike, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. We're already an hour and a half in, and teams are already starting to fill out. But we'll post the draft in the description down below, so that way everyone at least can see who had the better draft. But Kyle, Seth, it was great having you guys on, and we'll definitely be doing this again, especially after the NFL draft. So if you guys want to do one at that time, we'll definitely get you guys back on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
the show. So
of course.
always love
And
talking.
Seth, are you working on anything new at all?
I
Or
just
no?
want to end up saying I got the double stack with Shakir and Kincaid to go with Josh Allen. So
There you go.
There you go.
You can worry about who to start each week.
Thank God I have Evan Ingram.
That's right. That's right.
Thanks very much, guys, for inviting on for the auction. I always love auctioning, even if it's a mock auction to be.
Yeah, thanks for
On the
coming,
show.
guys. This is our first one we've had with some guests. It's always nice to get a few more guests in the recording studio. So it's nice to do this. I can't wait to do more of these as we get further into the season.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, guys, for having me on, and we'll definitely be doing more of these, hopefully, in the future.
Absolutely. All right, guys. The Have to Auction Podcast. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.